Hey, in this video we'll be discussing front bumpers and what I chose for my 2021 Jeep Gladiator Mohave. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Robert with Sherburne Outdoors, and today we're discussing front bumpers. This is going to be a quick video, but I did want to kind of target this and bring it out because I did get quite a number of questions on it, which we'll hit some of those in the end. But when I first got my Jeep Gladiator Mohave, in this particular case in 2021, in late 2021, it came with a plastic bumper. I thought it was very ugly. I thought it was very cheap because, I mean, you're paying $80,000 for a vehicle. You would expect a little bit more. I know they say the Mojave's a desert racing stuff, but you know, the Rubicons, you can get them with the steel bumpers. So I looked around, and one of the beauties of being a Jeep owner is that you can really customize your Jeep for you. You know, there's tons of aftermarket. I'm a big Mopar guy, but there's everything out there. You can go to Quadratech and everywhere else and look for a variety of different bumper options, and there are some cool ones out there with integrated lighting and all this other stuff. I knew there was a couple things that I wanted, and I actually looked where I had some LED. I almost pulled the trigger on that at one point in time. I forget the name of the vendor, but I'll throw a picture up there. And I thought that actually was going to be the one. But as I looked around, and this is one area that I would pause a new Jeep buyer. Do not jump on the very first thing. Take a little bit of time, look at some pictures, look at some of the Jeeps when you're driving around. You might see some different views and kind of see how something actually looks versus what it might look like on the internet. I did this with tires and other things, and I stuck and did this with the Jeep as well. So after looking around a whole bunch, I realized there were some things I wanted. I really like the traditional bumper of the Rubicon. I like the length. I like being able to keep in the orange accents. Didn't want to go crazy on the Mohave, but I did like these. And there were some other things I wanted. I knew I was going to put a winch in, so I did kind of want the winch to be integrated a little bit. And I knew that I would like a little lighting on the front, not too much. I didn't want a light bar, and I wanted things kind of round, so I ended up going with the Mopars, which fit on this nice hoop, which actually is here to protect the winch. So this was kind of what I was set up. So when I started looking into this, you know, there wasn't at this point a lot of Mojaves with a Rubicon bumper. So my buddy Thad Taylor over at Hicks Automotive, he does all my installations. He put this on, and they actually had to cut a little bit. So at the bottom of the Mojaves, they've got this big, you know, kind of stainless steel looking skid plate, which is absolutely awesome. I wanted to keep that. So he had actually cut a little bit on the inside of the bumper, take a little bit out to make that fit. He's gotten really good at this. He did it on his as well. And so we went, in this case, I went with the very traditional looking Rubicon bumper. I did this on the back as well. Probably have a separate video on that. But this has been very, very effective for me. Wasn't that expensive for putting all this together. Obviously, once you put the winch in and the lighting system, everything else, that does add up in price. But these can come off, these wings can come off at a later date. The LED lights fit in very quickly. One thing we did have a problem with on these that we thought was the existing LED lights on the Mohave bumper were not going to fit this Rubicon bumper. But when we opened up the Rubicon bumper, it actually came with the lighting built in, so it wasn't a big deal. That was one. Cutting of the skid plate was another issue that we had with that. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with this. I love this. So I did get some questions. Number one, I always get gas mileage questions. Does this new heavier bumper affect the gas mileage? No. These things get terrible gas mileage. If anything, my gas mileage has gotten better since I bought it to where it is now. I don't know if the engine's breaking in or whatever has any of that. The other thing I got was questions on weight. Did it sag? I did not notice any sags when we put actually all of this weight on the front. Got to be honest, I should have probably went back and measured a little bit, but I didn't physically notice anything. And the other part of that was, did it drive differently? So I did a lot of this stuff at the same time with a lift and bigger tires and a steering stabilizer, and I will say nothing drives differently. I didn't notice any change in how it moves around or how it drives. I haven't noticed any change at all. I got a couple other questions. Do I have any issues when we're out on the trail? You know, I'm not as crazy as those guys are at like Ozark Overland Adventures or the Story Till Now, but I haven't had any issues. I haven't banged into anything. You know, I've looked at this after we get done, and I'll have some crap inside of it and some limbs and some other stuff, but this has been a great bumper. About a year and a half in now. It actually has very little scratches on it. I am extremely happy with this selection. of bumper. With all the bumpers out on the market, I can't believe I went with the simplest one. Again, this is the Mopar Rubicon version that you can come on here. Just with a small amount of modification, you can get this to fit on your Jeep. And I'm pretty happy with that, actually. It turned out really, really well. So again, this is the Jeep. And my one opinion would be on this: if you're looking for a front bumper, don't pull the trigger right out of the gate unless you've done a lot of research, and get the one you like. Again, these Jeeps are great. You can customize them for you. Don't worry about what anybody else is thinking. If you want this thing with a huge bar that comes up here and is all rectangle and all that, and light bars integrated, light it up, make it happen. One other question I did get on these was it hard to hook these lights in? And it was not. I've got the built-in auxiliary switches. They just wired these back to those, and they wired the winch into the battery when they did. So all of this was set up. That's really it. Oh, one last thing. If you are looking at the winch piece for the Rubicon bumper, putting that in, do know that you need to buy the winch plate. It's pretty expensive too, that you got to put inside of here. It's pretty heavy. Also, it's going to add to it. So there's another piece that goes with that. If you're doing this with someone else, they will know how to do this and know what you need to buy. But with that said, that's a wrap on this. Hey, if you like this kind of content, please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click that bell to be notified when we got new videos out. Everybody, thanks for your time. Have a great day.